Guys, Steve here with Kibble TV. Thank you to everyone who loves looking at the dogs eat and appreciates the dogs, compliments the dogs, are here for the dogs. One of the things that we know is probably one of the most important things to most pet parents, now that feeding's a thing, is what to feed your dogs. So everybody gets a dog and they say, man, I want my dog to grow up and be strong like Ego and Tron. And I do appreciate that. Their strength isn't measured on size and muscle, but rather quality of life. And one of the things we know that's important when living is exercise and activity. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through one thing, and it's interesting, that you can add to your dog's food, especially if you're feeding dog food, to help reduce inflammation and stress on the gut and all those, you've heard it, read it, you've probably seen it. What's those things that are found in a lot of dog foods? Heavy metals. Guys, stay tuned, take care of your dogs. What are some of the best dog food brands? Ones that if I had to make a recommendation, you'd say, Bet, thank you so much. I gotta do the scoop thing because that stuff you do is a little much, and I get it, people, I do. But that's why, I don't have a mommy, the outside thawing. We use chubs, so go to ifeedraw.com, use FitBully24 for a chub if you're trying to introduce dog food, or raw food, to your dog food. But what are some of the better brands? Canada, the Canucks, they have a better standard of manufacturing requirements. So what ends up happening is they do a much lower tip in terms of heat, which doesn't, based on what they say and some of the science, deplete or diminish the value of the dog food in totality. Let me simplify it by saying this. Some dog food that's still bullshit, that ain't the worst shit, is some stuff out of Canada. You can use from Signature or Carnivore. Did you get that? We talked about the value of proteins and meats. And if you've been here at Kibble TV, you've probably heard me talk about BV before. And no, I don't mean bacterial vaginosis. For you ladies that have some pH issues. But at anywho, Dr. Karen Becker and Rodney, they put together another chart, and I was reading the book while I was out of town this past week. We ended up getting out to Atlanta. Shout out to everybody that showed up to that event. And man, some magical stuff happening. And we're at the precipice of greatness in terms of community and reach. So you've been here before. So act like you've been here before. And what does that say? Biological value. A percentage measure of how well the body can absorb protein. A protein with 100% biological value means that every single amino acid that makes up the protein is present in a way that the body can metabolize it. Well, guess what? 100%. Fish is number 2. Beef is number 3. The irony is chicken's number 4. Look at this shit. And then we go back to that dog food question. Now I repeat, if your dog food, if you can't see an egg in there, if you can't see no fish in there, if you can't see no beef and no chicken, then it probably don't have it in there, if we're being honest. One of the things Dr. Karen Becker and them put in this particular book, which is a good book, I would encourage you to get it. It literally is Forever Dog Life. People ask me about the books to read, like I'm holding them hostage. I didn't write the book. I don't make no money off the book. It's a book. I'm asking questions about quality of life, and these are some leaders in this space that are really focused on improving gut health and overall health long term, and it has nothing to do with muscle development. Now, if you did want your dog to grow up and be as strong as Ego, and you had to use dog food, one of the number one things I would be concerned if I were you would be inflammation. And what's the trick to reducing inflammation? One of the foods you can use, turmeric. Another food you can use, cilantro. Believe it or not. So I was reading this thing earlier, and you don't have to show them this, but we'll walk you through it. So cilantro is a mold buster. After a certain time, your dog food turns to trash. Depending on how it's sealed, what type of bag it's in and container you keep it in. Sometimes people have so many dogs, they don't even get to the bottom of their trash containers of dog food. So how much mold do you think grows in those big ass containers of dog food? Quite a bit. And unfortunately, some of the fat, especially in your fish blends of dog food, it runs rancid. So if you don't know how to smell the shit on that dog food, you're gonna have, man, say. So but I can't even say this right now. A mycotoxin is a toxic mold that infects grains, and commercial dog foods are full of them. In one study, 9 of the 12 dog foods tested contained them. Mycotoxins can lead to organ disease, immunosuppression, cancer, and more. While it's best to avoid them entirely, sometimes it's too late. Cilantro can help. This flavor herb contains something with a polyacetylene, an organic compound that helps detoxify mycotoxins from the body. Cilantro can also chelate heavy metals from the body, something commercial dog food is full of, naturally binding an average of 87% of lead as well, 91% of mercury, and 74% of aluminum within 40 days. So basically, and again, if you read this, they use a lot of these big words, like people go, I have to go look them up and read about them. But functionally, cilantro can help reduce some of the stress that you're putting on your dog by feeding it dog food. And for fact, it's scientifically been proven after a certain amount of days, the dog food turns to shit and becomes dangerous. And depending on what kind of dog food you have, you can go in there in 30, 40 days, feel it. It feels a little bit oily. It feels a little greasy at times, and it starts getting worse, and you don't even know what to look for. But the dog's eating it and it's fine, or sometimes it's not, and then all of a sudden the dog starts storing up. You go, what's going on here? And most dog foods are full of crap, okay? Think about it. There's studies going around right now talking about the crap in our water. Heavy metals are found in our water bottles. You know they don't care about no damn dog. So I'm gonna chop some cilantro out. I'm gonna put a meal together. Eagle's gonna eat it, and hopefully you guys maybe start adding some of this to your dog's food. But here's the thing. When you add a new resource to your dog's food, like medication, it will not truly impact the dog's quality of life for 10 to 14 days. After the 14 days, because it is a natural food and the body says, oh, I know what to do with this new information, all you do is go back and cut down to maybe 3 days. So if you're feeding 7 days a week, you do it at least 3 days a week, you'd add cilantro. Make sense? Take care of your dogs, people.